Hello and welcome to another episode of Sacred Games Daily. It's episode 11 here on April 3rd, 2024 at 12:30, my time at least. Joey, it's like 5 o'clock over there, right? We're in different countries.
Yeah. 5:30.
Crazy. You're about to eat dinner, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Gonna have some salmon.
No, it's nice. No, what's funny is that we have dinner like sometimes earlier than 3 o'clock over here, or from just my family. So,
oh really?
Actually, I'll probably be having dinner within an hour. Which is weird, so
I mean, well, you wake up earlier, so
yeah, it's kind of off, but yeah, we got a couple news items for you guys to hit the ground running with here, and then we'll jet out of here. But first one today comes from GameSpot. This is PlayStation Showcase coming in May. A new PlayStation Showcase, Sony's version of a direct presentation, could be coming in May. That's according to Jeff Grubb of Giant Bomb, who mentioned on a recent Giant Bombcast episode that he heard that there will be a PlayStation something, either a State of Play or a showcase, next month in May. Grubb speculated Silent Hill 2, which is a PS5 console exclusive, could show up at this showcase, though that remains to be seen. And then the next morning, Grubb said on a different Giant Bomb podcast recording, Game Mess Mornings, I do keep hearing there will be some smaller first-party games for PS5, like that Astro game that is supposedly still happening this year. So, as we've talked about, a lot of people have talked about, PlayStation doesn't have the big heavy hitters lined up this year like we're used to them having. There's assumedly nothing first-party coming for the rest of the year. They've had a great beginning of the year, but it's all been like second-party deals, third-party deals, nothing directly from PlayStation Studios. Silent Hill 2 remake would be another instance of something for PlayStation specifically, but not from an in-house studio. Yep. That would be another big heavy hitter this year. And then, like we said, Jeff Grubb said there'd be some smaller games, like potentially that Astrobot game. There's been rumors that there'd be a follow-up to the Astrobot game that came with everyone's PlayStation 5s. It's been rumored for a while that there'd be another entry into that. So, showcase next month of some sort. I guess I'll gauge where you're at on this, Joe, but for me, it's not that I want to be pessimistic, but I just have not got good vibes from that Silent Hill 2 remake at all from the very beginning.
Nope.
I just get vibes that it's like, it's probably expensive, but it's not being given the treatment that like a Resident Evil 4 or a Final Fantasy 7 would be given. It's more like a, how much do we have to spend to make this work is the vibe I get. Could be completely wrong. It doesn't look particularly impressive graphically or faithfulness of remake style wise. And not that I've played Silent Hill 2, but I've talked to people who have. So that's not one I'm particularly interested in. I can't imagine that it's going to do insanely well. Once again, could be wrong. I don't plan to pick it up. The bar is so high right now for horror experiences with like Resident Evil remakes and Alan Wake and other things like that. And Dead Space remake, of course, which was only a year ago. So that's not got me too excited. Smaller games, there could be something good there. Astrobot, I did play the original. It's great. I just don't usually choose to spend my time with experiences like that. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I think Astrobot's amazing. So overall, I mean, I don't really care about the showcase, nor am I looking forward to it. Joe, do you got any more to offer on that?
Yeah, so like there's three things with this showcase, right, that I kind of hope for. One thing, well, I say hope for, but like you said, the Silent Hill 2 remake, like trailers and previews and stuff that we've seen, it doesn't look that great from what we've seen, right? Like, and this is the thing, like, I'm not as big of a fan of Silent Hill as say like Corey in the Discord or something, but like it is in my top 50. Like it's like middling in the top 50. Okay. So it is one of my favorite horror games of all time. I love survival horror, and it does look middling. It kind of, in the way that like Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta or Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater remake is kind of like lacking in style, but like high up in quality. Silent Hill 2 remake is kind of the opposite. It's got lack of sort of budget and quality per se, but oozes that style. And it's kind of like this weird thing where you've got two different like kind of opposite ends of the spectrum that aren't quite hitting full. They're not cooking with gas like they should be, right? And that just screams Konami all over. You know, if they're gonna half-ass something, they always will. You know, they'll always try. So that side of things is like kind of like when you preface the fact that this showcase is going to focus on this, it's kind of like whatever. The thing I am hoping for, aside from Silent Hill 2, is that they kind of do preview some stuff that isn't just like kind of, you know, outside developed games coming into the ecosystem. You know, maybe like a Ghost of Tsushima 2.
Now that would be amazing, of course, if we saw that.
Yeah.
I just didn't think that was really much of a possibility, but I would love that.
Well, this is the thing. The only thing I'm thinking of here is like kind of a title drop or something. I'm not saying like we need some gameplay or anything like that. I mean, I'd always love gameplay. I'm never going to say no, but you know, like we could, you know, maybe another Wolverine trailer, something like that.
Here's the thing. Here's why I don't think we'll see any of that, Joe, because this is a May showcase of some sort.
Yeah.
This is not their E3 presentation. This is not their, which of course we use the term E3. That really doesn't mean anything anymore, but like their big summer showcase.
Yeah.
This is not what this is. So to me, this strikes me as what things can we show off and give a time here while we wait for the big stuff
100%.
A month or two later.
Yeah, and that's why I say hope, you see. It's not like I expect to see that stuff, you know. But the thing is one thing I am excited for is to see the Astro stuff. I liked Astro's Playroom on the PlayStation 5. I thought it was like it's pretty much the only game that like fully utilizes the new DualSense controller in all the right ways. I mean, you can like blow on your controller to like make fans spin and stuff like that to progress the platforming sections. It was so good, dude. Like I loved every minute of it, and it's not a long platinum or anything, but I got the
2 hours.
Yeah, I got like the platinum in like a couple of hours, and it was great. It was a great time. So, and ever since, like, because I haven't really, like, been in the Astro ecosystem / series at all, so since I played that, I was like, I'm interested to see what these guys do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the only other Astro game the VR one?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure.
I thought so,
yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. It'll probably end up being some form of like VR showcase again, where like the last half of it is just all on VR.
I don't think they're showing VR anymore. I don't think they're showing VR. I think that's done.
They'll do something. They'll be like, let's do a little bit, one more game.
Maybe they'll do a VR price cut, though I don't know if they can afford it. But
yeah, but will they announce that on a showcase?
Probably not. Plus, that's the thing we've talked about before. Like, what the PSVR 2 is $550.
Yeah.
What would you, even if you said it was $399.99? I mean, that would be. I don't think anyone would even notice it unless it was $399.99. But even at that, people would probably be like, "That's so cool." Not buying one.
Yeah.
You know? I would be like that. I'm like, "Oh, $400? Not buying one."
Not buying one. So, nice try. Yeah. It's cool news though. It's cool news, but that's all we have to say on that, I think.
Okay, we'll move over to what normally would be gigantic news, but I feel like our chain has been yanked so many times with this piece of news that I feel like the safest bet is to not be excited for this at all anymore. I know if Josh ever listens to this, he would echo this as well, but this comes from IGN. Saber Interactive CEO says KOTOR Remake is alive and well. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Remake is one of gaming's most elusive projects. Announced in 2021, the long-awaited remake has changed hands multiple times, seemingly stopped development and restarted again, and after 6 years of development has yet to manifest. Fortunately, we finally have a real concrete update on what's going on. Saber Interactive is still working on it, and according to the CEO, it's alive and well. Speaking to IGN in an interview today, Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch confirmed that the company took KOTOR with it during its split from Embracer Group, and that the game is still in active development. It's clear and it's obvious that we're working on this, he said. It's been in the press numerous times. What I will say is that the game is alive and well, and we're dedicated to making sure we exceed consumer expectations. So, when this was announced in 2021, this was coming a year after Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was also a PS5 third-party deal, because this is a third-party PlayStation deal. At least it was when it was announced. So we had Final Fantasy VII Remake to look at. We had several successful Resident Evil remakes, rumors of a Resident Evil 4 remake. The bar for what remakes can be has really been lifted quite a bit since this announcement. This was originally announced as an Aspire project, which Aspire, they're I would say mostly hits with ports, but also some misses. They're not a company that to be esteemed to do massive projects, but I would say whether it was the intent or not, the expectation for what a KOTOR remake could be is something on the level of a Final Fantasy VII remake or a Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm not saying that they said it would be that. I'm not saying that it will be that, but the expectation is that we're going to get a KOTOR game on that level. And I actually have a lot of confidence in Saber Interactive as a company, but with it being at Aspire, with it being 6 years in development, we heard rumors in the past of Sony not being happy with what was shown for this when it was in progress, and all of these heightened expectations for what a remake could be from Final Fantasy and Resident Evil and things like that. It just seems very unlikely that we would get a KOTOR remake that is at that bar whenever it does come out. I also don't know, and this is not a criticism of Saber Interactive, how good they are. I don't know them to be a company that is at the scale to put out something like a Resident Evil 4 or a Final Fantasy VII remake. Maybe they could be. I know that if this was done right and it was faithful to the original, and it is a Star Wars property, this could sell 10 million plus copies, but it would have to be done right. So I would say I do believe them that this remake is alive and well, that it's still being developed. I think it will come out one day, but I just think where the expectations are, it's just very shaky ground. Like I would, and of course for me, I've never really played much of the original KOTOR, so I don't have as much of attachment to it as like Josh does or Wesley does, or many people 100%. Who played this game. But even if I was that attached, and now me not being as attached, I'm like, I feel like you do not want to put too many hopes in this game, right? Like you want this to succeed, right? This should be, like, if we live in a world where there's a great Final Fantasy VII remake and a great Resident Evil 4 remake, KOTOR is a game that needs to join those.
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't know. I guess that's what I have to say about it, Joe. I think I like Saber Interactive. I'm glad they took this with them when they left Embracer Group. That's all good news. I think they're a good studio. I want this to be great. Yeah. I guess my two questions to you as I pass it over is, what are your hopes for this? And do you agree with me that this has to be more than a glorified almost remaster? Like a Crisis Core Final Fantasy because we've already had these games technically remastered for Switch. So yeah, over to you, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so I have to preface this by saying, like, I've never been a massive fan of like the KOTOR games. I enjoy them. I've only played KOTOR 1 and 2 once each. So like, it was kind of a one and done situation. I came very late to the party when I was younger. I played them retroactively, and obviously by that time you had things like Dragon Age out and Mass Effect and stuff. So
they seemed older.
They seemed older. They are definitely dated. Like, anyone that says they're not, like, goes to your point. Like, these need to be remade very, very efficiently and faithfully. But my hopes are, in all honesty, it's like from a sort of second party sense. Like, I want these games to be remade for the good of the fans, such as Wesley and Josh. Like, I want those guys, because, like, how do I say this? In many ways, like, my buddy's perfect remaster, my buddy Dan, his perfect remake or remake is the Final Fantasy VII. Like, he's got that first-hand nostalgia for Final Fantasy VII. So when the remake came out and this trilogy was announced, it was like, oh my god, like, it was the best thing that could have happened to him. And I'm so happy for him. Mine would be like a Metal Gear Solid, right? Like a perfect Kojima-ran, remade from the ground up, faithful shit. This is kind of like what I want for Josh and Wes. Like, I want them to have that. So from a selfish sense, there's not really anything there aside from me going, oh, this might be interesting because I can get into it more because it's not as dated. What was the second question? Sorry.
What kind of level scale do you think this is going to be?
Oh, this has got to go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Like, it has to, because it is a monumental video game that, like, KOTOR for me, from my outside perspective, was like one of the few games that took like a license that was outside of gaming and essentially like brought it to a whole new height in gaming and made it its own, right? And I don't think I'm too far off in saying that.
No, I mean, I think if you talk about, I say 10 to 20 of the most famous, renowned, important games in the world. You have your Ocarina of Time, your Metal Gear Solid, your Final Fantasy VII. Those are there, but KOTOR's in that group. I don't know, like, and I don't say this to hate on KOTOR because I think the world of KOTOR. I don't know if it makes it in that top 10, but there's a very good chance it is. I think it probably is, but if it slips out of 10, it's definitely in the top like 15 most important games ever.
It's in the Hall of Fame. Like 100%, like it gets its flowers. And the thing with it, right, is like based on what you said with like Saber Interactive and stuff, like the thing with them is they're known for like ports and like remasters and like helping things get over development and stuff. Obviously helping on the Halo side of things, you know, with the MCC and the Combat Evolved.
Combat Evolved. They did the Combat Evolved graphics and music. Or, graphics and sound for the anniversary, and they also did Halo 2s.
Yeah.
So
and didn't Blur, was it Blur did the cutscene?
Blur did the cutscenes,
Halo 2, yeah.
So we're just talking about in-game.
The in-game stuff. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like they've got things in their backlog. Like they have like I think they developed Kingdom Come Deliverance and stuff like that, and like Toxic Commando and stuff like that. So smaller games, more tight games. I mean, Kingdom Come Deliverance was a pretty ballsy attempt from them, a pretty ballsy effort, but I don't have much faith in them in that regard because they haven't got the sort of resume. They haven't got the CV for this scale of product. One thing I will say is that, and this is completely like sort of a tangent, is when this was announced, this trailer for KOTOR, the remake, it was such a cool showcase for it to be packaged into. I mean, I think it was the showcase where we had the Wolverine announcement, we had the God of War Ragnarok title card drop, and we had the KOTOR thing. And I remember watching it live on stream, like, holy shit, this is a crazy showcase.
More bangers from Sony,
yeah. And it was in that time, in that pocket where it was like, this shit ain't letting up. Like, Xbox are donezo. And obviously that's kind of changed a little bit now with like kind of them going, obviously, like I said, more VR focused in their showcases and stuff like that. But yeah, it was, what I loved about this trailer was just like the cinematic and the framing, the lightsaber, like it just looks so badass. So you've set that precedent. You've got to kind of, capitalize. You got to capitalize.
So I think it could fall in a couple different areas. And there's one positive angle I could take from this. So when you talk about, I think the two, correct me if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong, Joe. I think the two most famously successful remakes are Final Fantasy and Resident Evil, as far as remakes go.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think of other remakes.
Well, Dead Space is... I'm going to mention that as another point in a minute, but...
I think as a franchise, as a series, overall, yeah, I think you're right.
And Resident Evil, at least like 4, I don't know, I don't think 3 was, but 2 and 4... That's made by like the prime Resident Evil team, like historic talent made that, right? When it comes to Final Fantasy VII, that is your historic, 30, 40-year-old dev team, like the prime. So these are the prime like developers making these faithful remakes that are like the ones that stand out as the best, which is not what you have with Saber Interactive. But then there's two other angles I could take on it. You have the Dead Space remake, which kind of blew everyone away, and that was EA Motive. Had they even done anything before, or was that their first game? Or I'm confused as to what EA Motive even did.
They did Star Wars Squadrons, which was like a AA effort. Okay, that was really which was really good. It was awesome.
But when that was first announced, I think we all thought like this probably isn't going to be the best Dead Space remake ever because it's by EA Motive.
No,
and they crushed it. I mean, Dead Space remake. Joe's a bigger fan, so if this is heresy, correct me, but to me, like Dead Space remake is so good, you could effectively just replace the original's existence almost.
Yeah, it's better. It's so faithful. It's incredible.
So faithful.
I love it. Like what it adds is not like it overwrites. It kind of just adds the bits. Like there's bits like more side content, just to add more like lore and content, and then the actual main story is kind of tweaked near the end and how the events play out. But I think it's better personally. Like as a game overall, all things included, it's better. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that's how I feel. So I feel like what we would want for KOTOR is the Resident Evil 4 Final Fantasy VII remake level. I don't think we'll get that. So I think where we need to set our sights on is best case scenario, we get a Dead Space remake of KOTOR, which that's a little different because like Dead Space was new enough that it didn't need as much updating. So I know it's not 1-to-1, but like a Dead Space level for KOTOR would I think be great if they could provide something on that level. But then I think what we're looking at worst case scenario, I mean, of course, worst case scenario is just a garbage game, but like worst case scenario, this might be your Konami level Metal Gear Solid Delta or Silent Hill 2 level, which those games haven't released yet. Maybe those will come out. We'll look back at this podcast. It's aged terribly. Maybe Metal Gear Solid Delta, Silent Hill 2, one or both of those are 10/10 experiences. We don't know. But it seems like that's like the lowest bar for like, it almost feels like Konami's like, oh, how much did Final Fantasy VII Remake and Resident Evil 4 Remake cost? Oh, $200 million? Okay. Can we get Metal Gear Solid Delta done for $100? And then the company doing Metal Gear Solid Delta is like, we can do it. We just got to cut corners here, here, not do this thing. And I feel like that's the worst case we might get for KOTOR. But I don't know. Do you think we could get maybe like an EA Motive Dead Space level? Like, I think that would be pretty suitable for KOTOR. What has to be done here is the gameplay has to be revamped, right?
Yes, 100%.
And I'm not even being like a mainstream pleb and saying like, oh, pull out the systems of because KOTOR systems are very like Dragon Age Origins, very like turn-based kind of stuff. I'm not saying pull that out and give me a hack and slash. No. I'm just saying it has to be revamped to be more modern. Right?
Honestly, I think they could take a page out of Square Enix's book with Final Fantasy VII.
I feel like they could just copy it, to be honest. Like, I didn't want to say that, necessarily.
It's blasphemy, but like, great artists.
Because it kind of pays homage to the KOTOR system still.
Yes. 100%. I think
because you can hack and slash with the lightsaber and then pause to select your abilities and sign up to your party.
100%. I mean, I would prefer a more hack and slash. I would honestly rather them just go full hack and slash personally.
Well, if we were being selfish,
if I was being selfish, but I think from a I say to streamline development, but that's not really the right word because it's like that makes it sound like I'm just thinking
it's to be a hybrid between what the mainstream like you and me want and what Josh and Wesley would want.
But like your template is there. That's what I'm saying. Like you can look at Final Fantasy VII and go like, that shit, we could use that. Like we could.
It really worked.
Like from a design standpoint.
To it, but
100%. Yeah, dude. I mean, like I hope it's really good. There's no world where I want this to be like kind of anything less than an EA Motive remake level production. And hopefully it's better than that. In all honesty, it needs to be better than that because the old KOTOR, in terms of its age, doesn't hold up as well as old Dead Space, like you said. There's not that much time difference. But yeah, dude, one thing I will say about this news is that it's really interesting how as soon as they are away from Embracer, they're like, guys, don't worry, it's not dead. Like it's almost like they've been drowning this entire time.
Now that we're not under Embracer, now it's alive and well.
Or now
Before
we can talk.
It wasn't.
Yeah, now we can talk because we haven't got like Embracer's boot on our throat kind of thing. It might be me just like being the conspiracy artist right now, but like that speaks volumes. Like
okay.
Hi there. Thank you so much for sticking with us up until this point in the episode, whether via audio or video. We greatly appreciate it. Now, if you're new here, make sure you join the Sacred Icon Discord. We'd love to have you there to talk all things pop culture or just talk about general life stuff. Make sure you join. We're always listening. We're always open to that stuff. And I'd also be remiss to not mention the Sacred Icon podcast. That's obviously available on Spotify, Apple, Google, etc., etc. That is hosted by Bryan and Josh. They have an amazing chemistry that is irreplaceable and it can never be emulated. They talk all things from movies, to video games. It's a great time. And definitely go check that out. All those links for the Discord and the Spotifys and everything are down below / on screen now if you're watching. But anyways, back to the episode.
Okay. All right, Joe. We'll end this show with a would you rather here.
Okay.
And I think I know your answer because it's going to be selfishly motivated, but
always.
Would you rather have this KOTOR remake be 10/10 goated, makes Final Fantasy VII Remake and Resident Evil 4 Remake look like less? I mean, it's perfection.
Yeah.
Or Hideo Kojima regains the rights to Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, Brian, where'd you get these ideas from, my guy? Oh my god.
Dude, I literally thought of it like the 5 seconds before I asked it. That's it.
I'm going to be selfless.
Selfless?
Selfless.
You're going to get that KOTOR remake?
Here's the thing, okay? Like, I would 100% accept the fact that, like I'm doing this for, like, Wesley and Josh and all those people out there. Like, you have your remake. I've had my time with Metal Gear. Like, I can stand here and, like, be like, I want all the Metal Gear. But I've had my time, dude. Like KOTOR needs it more than a Metal Gear, in my opinion. So, yeah, take it.
Wow, selfless Joe, guys. You better, Wesley and Josh, you better be listening to this episode because he just made your day right there.
Yeah, just threw your life right.
I thought for sure you'd say, because I know we're getting a new Metal Gear-esque thing from Hideo Kojima eventually with Physant, I think it's pronounced. But man, if he had that IP, I think he'd probably use it.
I'm at a point with Metal Gear, not to go on too long here, because obviously we're wrapping up, but I'm at a point with Metal Gear where I'm content.
Yeah, you got great games and they're there. The legacy's
leave
there,
it.
So
I would rather a franchise end and not carry on than sully the product and devalue it in many ways to the fans. But that's me. Yeah.
Okay, well let me throw you another one. Joe. Would you rather have Kojima make the follow-up to God of War Ragnarok, him and his studio, which is so out of place?
Is this a would you rather or just like
this is a would you rather? Yeah, would you rather have Kojima make the follow-up to God of War Ragnarok
or the current people?
What's that?
Or the current people who work on God of War or what?
No, or have
the
Sony Santa Monica make Metal Gear Solid 6. They're not fit for each other at all. So
That's terrible.
Which one would have a better chance of working out? Which would you rather have? Like, they don't fit at all.
I think if Hideo Kojima gets his fingers on God of War, it would be a mess.
Yeah, it would be.
I'm taking Sony Santa Monica. That's a safer bet. I think they could do it, but they could
probably make a decent Metal Gear. But if Hideo Kojima made God of War, he'd be like, "Oh, Kratos is actually an amoeba inside of a giant god, and he haunts the dreams of Atreus, who is actually a goat."
Yeah. Yeah, and he would find a way to like bring it into other universes within the Sony. Yeah, it would just be weird, dude. It'd be weird. I don't know. You'd see Kratos' ass, no doubt.
And there'd be regular Kratos, but then there'd be like liquid Kratos.
Oh no, no, dude, no.
Okay, I love bringing Kojima into Would You Rather's for Joe because Joe's a big fan of Kojima.
All our episodes are just gonna be Kojima.
Yeah, I like it. It's great. What if Kojima had a beard just like yours? Wouldn't that be weird?
It would be weird.
Yeah, I don't think he could pull off the beard you have.
I mean, this is
what if Kojima tried to cosplay as Kratos?
That would be very strange.
And Cory Barlog tried to cosplay as Kojima.
You're going crazy with this shit, bro.
I'm getting crazy. We gotta get out of here. We had some extra minutes, so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and throw them at the wall. And the thing is, you would think that I should save these for future episodes, but I'm gonna come up with them.
Yeah, these is an infinite well of would you rathers and random questions.
Yeah. It makes a lot of people happy, and it makes a lot of people frustrated. So, all right, guys. Well, let us know what you think about the KOTOR remake and this PlayStation Showcase that's coming up. We thank you guys so much for listening to Sacred Games Daily, and as always, keep it sacred daily.
Peace.